Hey folks, my name is Joe and this is my farm, and this video is going to pretty much just discuss the 2019 syrup season and what all happened during that season, and so let's break it down, okay? So during the 2019 season, we started out with 41 taps. And we tapped late February, and we had a terrific run the first weekend. First run one night we had 60 gallons, that followed up by another 40 gallons. Right after we collected that first 100 gallons during those 2 days, we ended up having a freeze up that lasted for about a week and a half. And during that time I was able to run the RO. It didn't run very well. I was having real freeze up issues, ice chunks. Really kind of affected my attitude, but it ended up turning out pretty good. That first 100 gallons, sugar content was really high on that first run, and it yielded 3 gallons. And so even though we had to sit on the sap for about a week, real pleased with that outcome. I mean, sugar content was, like I said, very high. RO had a lot of issues with ice chunks, and cold sap does not flow very well through that machine. So the second one was pretty fast and furious. It was a gusher type run, and we yielded 85 gallons of sap in basically about a day and a half a run, and that was one collection at 85 gallons, and it pulled in about 2.5 gallons of syrup that day. Sugar content was a bit lower, but it was still pretty clean. Third run was big again. Third run, we had 60 gallons on the first day of that run and 40 gallons on the second day of that run. When I refer to a run, basically that's when we go into that ideal freezing, high 20s during night, up into the 45 during the day, and we get a pretty good run when we have those temperatures and the sun pops out. But if it stays warm for too long, the run just kind of dies out. If it stays too cold for too long, the run also dies out. So that third run at 60 gallons, 40 gallons, 100 gallons, once again we yielded 3 gallons of syrup. So I don't know how this is going to come out with the wind. The wind's starting to pick up. It was still, but what you can see is the first 3 runs, the color was very similar in sap. It boiled very similar. I don't understand exactly what's in sap that makes it turn darker, but these 3 runs were almost identical to boil, which made it a lot of fun. I mean, they were long boils, a couple late nights, but it was ideal conditions. Then the 4th run came, and the 4th run actually ended up yielding 2 boils. It was the point, it was almost the breaking point where I thought 47 taps is almost too much. So basically we went 4 days straight here, where first day we had 60 gallons, the next day we had another 60 gallons, and we had to boil. And so we ended up boiling. How did that work? We had 60 gallons. One day we ran the RO, we had 60 gallons. Next day we ran the RO again, and then we boiled the following day. That yielded 3¼ gallons. While we were boiling, we had to go out and collect once again that day, and we collected 90 gallons that day. And then the next day the run started tapering off, and that brought in 40 gallons, and that boil You know, that 130 gallon run gave us about 3¼ gallons. The trees by the road were extremely high sugar content. The ones back in the woods, not so much. And we saw that during those 2 boils, we started to darken up. And yeah, sap started darkening. Those 2 boils, it was the sap was foamier, which made us have to slow the boiling down quite a bit. I couldn't run the fan quite as heavy, and they took a few more minutes. The last run was a lot. It was just a lot of sap. First day was 60 gallons that we brought in. The next day was 50 gallons. And then that last day of that run was 30 gallons. I knew that I would only have time for 1 more boil, so I just kind of held off on that boil. And that boil brought in 3½ gallons of syrup. And we could see that bottle definitely was a lot darker than these first 3 and even 4. But boy, we probably could have participated in 1 more boil, but because of timing and our family went on a small spring break trip, we knew that we had to just shut down. We had to clean up, and that was it. It was a ton of fun this season. A lot of great communication between me and y'all, and I thoroughly do enjoy it. So season totals, we're at 675 gallons of sap, and we finished right around 18½ gallons of syrup, and that's a tough measurement because I know that I lost syrup in the filter. You always lose some syrup in the filtering. You can't quite get all of it through your cone filter. You know that there's some syrup that's left in the pan after a boil. You can't quite get it all out. You know, you go in there with a silicone spatula and try to clean it up, but you know you end up losing some syrup. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think that being as efficient as possible is so valuable. Yes, I burn some diesel fuel. Yes, I use some electricity with the reverse osmosis system. But 18½ gallons, every gallon will yield me, a gallon will yield me about $80. And at 18½ gallons, that's a pretty good take. Now most of that will, honestly, some of it will get sold, some of it will be gifted, some of it will consume, some of it will use as barter goods. And so, we start saying, well, 18½ gallons at $80 a gallon, Hokey Pete's, well, we don't actually bring all that in. It's nice to share, it's nice to barter with it. But yeah, so that was the season. Pretty excited. Our last year we had 28 taps and we finished 12½ gallons. And this season, topping out, we after that first run, we bumped it up to 47 taps and finishing 18½ gallons. I think that's pretty well maxed out with our current system. I can't imagine adding any more. We would have to run that evaporator more hours, and with the time that I get off work and can get home, that's not very practical right now at our point in life. So So, hey, take care. I don't know if this is helpful. This is more of a vlog and kind of for me to just kind of look back on and have a memory, because I'm going to recycle this paper when I go in the house. And so, yeah, take care. Thanks for joining me this season. Look around the channel if you see anything interesting. You might. So take care. I hope you have a great rest of spring and summer. We'll definitely see you guys again next sugaring season. So bye now.